Another edition of Night Watch with your host, Larry K. This, the post-game to Norfolk State version. Rutgers coming away with the victory 60-10 against their FCS rivals. Guys, I have some takes from the game. This concludes Rutgers out-of-conference slate. We will see how we progress toward the Big Ten schedule. There's a lot to discuss and talk about with this game. First off, Rutgers dominates in most facets of the game, as you would expect. 563 total yards, 378 passing yards, 185 yards on the ground, averaging 7 yards per play, 33 first downs, 9 of 14 on third down, 3 of 4 on fourth down, ran a total of 81 plays. I don't think, and I watched Aaron Brightman's postgame, watched the TKR guys, watched the rapid reaction. I think Aaron has it right. I mean, the score is a little deceptive in this game. The team did not look, especially in the early going, like they had really figured it out, nor did they look like in the early going that they were dominant or that, they were, the tracks were greased there and they were just going. It looked a little tough early on. Offense not clicking on all cylinders early on. Ethan said it himself. I mean, there were a few he missed when Fuchs interviewed him after the game on 101.9. He says, he's asking him about the beautiful pass he had, the touchdown pass. And he said, well, what about the ones I missed? And he missed quite a few, which was a bit of a shame. But nonetheless, he finishes 18 of 26 for 309 yards, 1 touchdown, 300 yards again. Ethan just having a really good season so far in the out-of-conference schedule anyway. We'll see if that can continue. Interesting, I heard on TKR the guys talking about can Ethan beat certain Rutgers records this year, and especially the touchdown record. He'd need to pad his stats, it looks like, a little bit in this particular game. He had been cruising really well in the first 2 games, but with the Big Ten schedule coming up and more stout defenses on the horizon, he would have had to pad this game a little bit, and he only threw 1 touchdown, and some of that was some missed opportunities. You had 1 called back, which was painful, but 1 touchdown, that's going to hurt in that pursuit of the touchdown record, but 300 yards, another solid day. KJ Duff, Ian Strong, and it's important to report on the fact that Ian Strong, all of a sudden, in the game day inactives, Ian Strong was reported as out, and it was a surprise to pretty much everybody. Ian Strong, I believe, twisted his leg on one of the penalties at the end of the game against Miami of Ohio. Schiano said in his post-game presser that Ian thought he was okay after that. The staff thought he was okay after that. But in Schiano's words, it just didn't respond, meaning the injury, and he wasn't ready to go. And Schiano actually said he was concerned and he wasn't sure if Ian will be ready to go for Friday. We don't know yet. Hopefully that's just, some gamesmanship and some coach speak. And hopefully, even if it's not, Ian's ready to go Friday. But Ian was out. In his absence, KJ Duff stepped up, as you would assume he would. 6 receptions for 119 yards, averaging close to 20 yards a catch. Should have had a touchdown there. Didn't have it. Ben Black did, in fact, have a touchdown, though. 3 receptions for 56 yards. Schiano has been saying he wanted to get Black involved more. He did get involved in Strong's absence. DT Sheffield, tough drop, comes right back, catches the ball, 3 receptions for 79 yards. On the ground, Rutgers looked like they really tried to get the ground game going early, and Schiano said that in his post-game as well. For obvious reasons, I would think you're trying to just practice some of those plays, get downhill as an offense, also move the game, move the clock, get out of the game healthy. You're not trying to stack up points and prolong the game. But they had some tough going a little bit early on in that game. Raymond finishes at 16 carries for 79 yards, averaging close to 5 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns. Benjamin, 12 carries, 68 yards, over 5 yards a carry, 1 touchdown. Gurrier gets in there, 7 carries. The toughest news, I think, to come out of this game was the injuries. So before the game, you find out Dante Chin is done for the season, and that hurts because you already had an injury in the tackle spot in the offseason. You come into the season, you really hate to lose guys in the out-of-conference schedule that are integral, pivotal pieces to your team. It's football. It's next man up. You can't control it. But sometimes as a football fan, I have to be honest, it just gets frustrating. It gets frustrating that every season, it's inevitably going to happen, and it's inevitably going to happen to every team. But it's still frustrating. You don't know which piece, which player at what time is going to go down to some serious injury and miss significant time. And it's just frustrating to deal with because it's hard to project what your team's going to be when you don't know what the injuries are going to be. And you don't know who's going to step up, whether they're going to be, an emerging star or whether they're going to be a liability. So Dante Chin, who had won the starting job, goes out with an injury. He'll be out for the season. Needham steps up. And remember, Needham went out last season with an injury. He comes in and he gets dinged up and he goes out of the game. And CJ Campbell, who everybody had high hopes for, who was really part of the big tandem there with Raymond, with Benjamin working his way in, Campbell goes out and is carted off. So from my vantage point, which is close to the Rutgers sideline at the games, I can tell you, and from my message board colleagues over on TKR who decided to drop some knowledge, Campbell, I just don't think it looked good. He couldn't put any weight on that leg coming off the field. It looks like, as a football fan, you start to see, especially in the last 20 years or so, maybe 15, 20 years, you start to see the telltale signs of a significant leg injury. The way guys fall, but also the way they walk off the field or don't or barely walk off the field. I'm not a doctor. I don't have any inside information. It didn't look good for Campbell, and that's a tough blow to a running back room that was really stout. Now, we still have a lot of really good running backs in the stable there, and I think the depth is good, but to lose a guy who was at the top of the order is never fun, especially this early in the year, and it looks like Campbell could be a significant injury, might miss significant time. Needham, on the other hand, got dinged up, walked off. I don't know what the injury was. It might have been upper body by the way he was kind of clutching things and the way he walked off. There was some posts on the message boards and there was some sightings. He came out of the tent. He looked like he was talking to a family member and seemed like he was okay. It's important to recognize that when Needham went down and came out, shortly thereafter, the starters as a whole were pulled from the game. So Needham didn't come back to the game, but the starters really didn't come back to the game much after that either. So it's difficult to tell whether he missed the rest of the game because of the injury or whether he missed the rest of the game just because, hey, why put him back when everybody's coming out anyway? Let's just move on to Friday to Iowa. So I do think that things seem to be trending better for Needham. I don't think they're trending great for Campbell. Kaj Sanders came off the field for a little bit, went into the tent, worked out, went back onto the field. But that segues into, this defense conversation, this safeties conversation. I did not see a defense that I thought made me feel comfortable or gave me the warm and fuzzies going into the Big Ten schedule. I just didn't. The safeties, once again, there was a play, and I was right there to look at it. There was a play where Jet Elad, the Norfolk State wide receiver, catches the ball with about 6-7 yards, give or take, maybe 10 to go to the end zone, to the pylon. He looks at Jet Elad, and he just, instead of running out of bounds, instead of trying to outmaneuver him, he's just like, I'm going to take you on. And this isn't, I'm not saying the kid's not tough. I'm not saying the kid, doesn't have talent. I'm not saying the kid doesn't have heart. But this kid is an FCS kid. And he takes one look at Jet Elad and he says, all right, bro. And he just lowers his head, lowers his shoulder pad, and he just pushes Elad all the way into the end zone. And there were other gaffes, again, with guys running open in the middle of the field. We were able to close angles and we had maybe better closing speed, maybe owed somewhat to the competition here. And we were able to bring guys down before they went all the way into the end zone. But guys were running wide open in the secondary once again. And guys were breaking free, in the running game here and there too. And so, we did have the interception. But that was a terrible throw. I actually posted to a group chat just that Super Troopers, mother of God, because it was just like, what was that throw was just a gift. And so, there's still a lot to be desired, I think. I mean, Evans, 8 carries for 52 yards, averaging 6.5 a carry. Um, King, 7 carries, 56 yards, averaging 8 a carry. I just, their quarterback didn't have a very good outing, right? I mean, but you don't expect him to. And so, in the little bit we could glean, yes, the defense turned the corner in some ways. That right, there was a takeaway. Uh, there were better angles at some plays that prevented devastating plays, like scoring plays. But when you look at the issues we had in the first 2 games, and then you look at the issues we had yesterday, you can see that the same issues are persisting and the same concerns have not been ameliorated by watching this game. And so I think it's going to be interesting going into Big Ten play what this defense can do, because the offense looks great, hit some bumps early yesterday, but then recovered. But you have some concerns along the offensive line now. You lost a running back now. You don't know if Ian Strong, when he's going to come back, and if he comes back, what his strength is going to be, whether he's full strength. And so the offense is going to have to make up a heck of a lot of ground to cover for some of the glaring concerns that we have on defense. Now, Ohio, pretty good team, beat West Virginia. Then West Virginia goes out and wins their game, and then Ohio hangs with Ohio State for quite some time before Ohio State finally pulls away. So Ohio's a good team. And I don't want to get into all this type stuff. Like this team beat that team beat this team. So if they beat them, then you can't get into that. Every Saturday is different. Every matchup is different. You can't glean a ton. But if we're going to glean anything at all ever, I mean, Iowa looked absolutely pathetically horrible on offense the first 2 weeks of this season. And UMass has had a terrible outing so far. And, my thoughts are out there to our former defensive coordinator. I wish him nothing but the best. I mean, he moved up and out, and that's what you wish somebody to do, but he's struggling there. They're 0-3, but Iowa hung 47 points on them, 47-7. Iowa smashes them. So they got that offense going. Now, Gronowski, 16-24, 179 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's not lighting the world on fire. But he showed he could be competent, and Iowa's offense showed they could be competent here. So, you got a stout Big Ten team, traditional power. The defense is going to give you some problems. You got to assume that, no matter how good our offense is. Our defense better be right. Now, I'm hoping that there are some calls there, like you saw the call where Bull Masco gets the interception last week, because Rob Smith puts him in position to do that with the play call. I hope there's more play calls like that allow for our defensive guys to be in better positions to make up for some of the, whether it's mental gaffes, whether it's athletic issues, whatever the skill set issues. I'm hoping this coaching staff has been saving something on defense for the Big Ten schedule, and even if it's matchup specific, can draw something up to put our guys in good positions to succeed here. Because we get into this schedule, we have 3 wins now. We're going to need another 3 wins, obviously, to go bowling. And I know I may be seeming like a nervous Nelly, negative Nancy, whatever you want to call me, sitting at 3-0, winning against 2 good MAC teams and pummeling an FCS team as we should. But I think there are glaring concerns that if you're an objective analyst, an objective fan, an objective commentator, you have to have some concern about going into the Big Ten. Now, this schedule is tough. Iowa, the way they've been playing offense the first 2 weeks, they come in here. If we're not, I would say we're relatively healthy. Who knows how it's going to go. We're not as healthy as we'd like to be. But relatively full strength, we think. Let's see what happens with Needham and Strong. That's an opportunity at home in a night game with the crowd behind you to try to get one. You've got road games that are, they're tougher. I think they're tough with this defense. The game against Illinois, I think it's tough. They got a talented quarterback. They got talented players on offense. They're going to try to exploit us in the passing game. You got, Minnesota on the road. They want revenge. Maybe you have an opportunity against Maryland. Maybe you have an opportunity against Purdue. Purdue not looking terrible yesterday. So I still expect to beat Purdue and these teams. But, with this defense, until I see them against Big Ten competition, I don't know what we have as far as play calling, what we have as far as schematics, what we have as far as, do they shuffle some guys around? But the safety play is really, really struggling. And yes, there were a few times we got to the quarterback yesterday, but these edge rushers, and, I'm hoping that, and I've heard some people say, look, it's vanilla early on. They want them to just win their one-on-ones. They're not doing any kind of other things to get them free. They're telling them not to do, I don't know. But hopefully they've been saving something in the tank for the Big Ten schedule, because I still have a lot of concerns about the defense. Props, like part of what we're going to have to do, and we continue to do yesterday, I wish we'd done more of it earlier on, is we're going to have to out athletic teams. And that's true even in the Big Ten. Even in the Big Ten, our skill positions, the guys in the perimeter, the wide receivers, the quarterback, are capable of just winning one-on-one matchups and going deep. And yesterday, I know we were a little more pedestrian early on. I think that was by design. It was Alec Krauthamel. He says mid-game to me, he says, I hope that, why don't they just throw it to Duff? He's absolutely going to dominate his guy. Just throw it up to him. Very next play, Duff goes up, one-handed catch comes down. They call it inbounds. It was close. So you're going to have to do a lot more of that. If you want to succeed. But I still have concerns about this team. I had concerns going into the season about the defensive coordinator hire. I was nervous about it. I had concerns about defensive personnel. Some of that you can't put on the coaching staff because you lose guys to the transfer portal. You lose Teray, goes to Miami. You lose Conga, he's over in Louisville. You lose Bailey, he's in Louisville. I mean, think if you had Conga, Teray, and Bailey all lining up on the field, and these other guys we brought up were backups or depth. Imagine if we had, Blue Eli out there. Imagine you have all these guys. The defense looks a lot different. Even if you have holes in the secondary at that point, you have guys in the front that can speed the quarterback up, that can disrupt things. So some of it's hard to put on the coaching staff. The personnel issues are. But I still am unconvinced, to be fair. Now, let this season play out. Let the Big Ten schedule play out. I'm still not convinced that the hire and the coaching, play calling, whatever it is the answer right here. And there's some guys we lost in the staff too, So I'm worried a little bit about the defense. Another thing I can say, and I've said it, I was hammering the special teams, pivotal plays in the offseason, punt blocks, kick blocks, special teams touchdowns. The over on that we had on the TKR show has just been smashed, obliterated. And special team steps up with another two. I mean, one may or may not be a block kick because it kind of came off the side of somebody's foot. I don't know. But 2 punt blocks, scores off of it. So, we had some problems with the PAT. Got to get that cleaned up. And Norfolk State was no slouch. They played with heart. They played with the vigor, and intensity, I think, of their coach. So, special teams turns the corner a little bit, gets back to their Rutgers ways. Offense stumbles a little, but it is what it is. I think they'll be okay. You got to watch that Needham injury. You got to watch that Strong injury. It hurts to lose Campbell. Defense, my concerns about defense have not changed. And going into this Big Ten schedule, I'm not going to say that I have the warm and fuzzies. I think this has the potential to be a bumpy year. This has the potential to be a very respectful, steady year. it has the potential, as you can never say never, to turn the corner and all of a sudden guys emerge and they turn the corner and things change. Like last year after the 4-game losing streak, and all of a sudden, we have a good year, and it has the potential to be a really rough year, which would be a shame because the offense is the best offense we've had in at least a decade, probably more, probably going all the way back to 2014, and maybe better than them when it all is said and done. I mean, probably most likely better than when it's all said and done, maybe. And the defense is nowhere near where we're used to it being. It's frustrating, but that's football. That's life in this conference. That's life as a Rutgers fan. And we just got to do what we got to do and roll with it. I am going to try to do, and I will do, I will do a game preview this week. It's either going to be me or I'm going to get somebody from Iowa to come on and talk to me. Hopefully get somebody from Iowa on and we'll talk about the game. I will be at the game. Hopefully you guys will be out there. Let's get loud. Let's get busy. It's the beginning of the Big Ten schedule. Friday night game should be absolutely awesome. And remember, guys, if you're listening on the podcast on audio, come over to YouTube, click subscribe, join the channel, become an official sponsor of Night Watch. You just click join. Few bucks a month, you can sponsor the channel and you get access to some perks. I'm going to do a written column for members only videos, some other behind the scenes stuff, the opportunity to ask me questions that I'll answer on the show. So click join and become a member, a Night Watch sponsor. And if you're watching on YouTube, remember this is also available as an audio podcast anywhere you get your podcast. I know I said that weird. It's Sunday morning. Anywhere you get your podcast, you can search for Night Watch Larry K and listen to this on your way to work, in your car, wherever. I will talk to you this week. Let's enjoy the victory. Let's be happy about the accolades and the things we've done well so far. But let's keep an eye on the injuries and keep an eye on the concerns, because you can never get too far ahead of yourself. I will talk to you guys this week. Go RU.